Okay, guys, I want to talk about the brake, especially when it comes to the trumpet. Now, some of you have probably heard of the brake when it comes to instruments like the clarinet. The brake being the difference between the low register and the upper register. Okay? I like to think of the brake as the change between registers and the feedback that is between the registers. For instance, just a little bit of discussion here. When the low register is engaged, the air column goes through the entire horn uninterrupted until it comes to the opening. Like, for instance, if I'm playing this note here, this is the opening where the vibrations are coming out of. And of course, if I close this, it goes down to here. And as I close more of the tube is engaged. Okay? And it's also low compression. When I go to the upper register, because I have a register key here open, some of the vibrations and air come out here first, causing a different set of harmonics, and then proceeds here. It gives you a different feedback. So when I play in the low register, it's low compression. I don't feel too much. When I engage the register key, I have a lot more compression now because of the feedback here. Kind of the same idea with the trumpet. As we put air, you can hear that, into the trumpet, it gives us feedback. Equal opposite reaction. So every action going forward has an equal and opposite reaction. Goes through the horn, comes to the bell, comes right back to you, and gives you feedback. How the horn's designed, location of the water keys, the gap between the mouthpiece and the lead pipe here, all affect the resistance of the horn and the feedback. They're called eddy currents, E-D-Y. And as the air goes in, any kind of disruption in the air causes more of a spiral or turn in the air. And that's why water keys are located in a strategic place to give you the least amount of resistance. That's also why you have different lead pipes. If you have a reversible lead pipe or traditional, it's all because of the resistance with the horn and finding what you like. So if you're having trouble going to the upper register, what I'm trying to say is relax. It's not your fault. You're not doing anything wrong. You just haven't figured out how your horn works when you apply what you're doing. So let's look at some ideas. In a video I talked about the rolled-in embouchure, and I showed you the application with the woodwinds, the flute, and the clarinet, and then, of course, the trumpet. So now let's put some of these ideas to work. First thing, you have to identify your brake. For me, when I was in high school, my brake was a G above the staff. Right there. And in one of my other videos, you heard me working out of like the Clark book and some other stuff. I still have a break between G and A. It's not that I can't play above them. You can just definitely tell there's a different register for me. And I don't slot as well as I need to, and I'm working on that. But back to what I was saying, like G, and if I had to go anything higher, I had to use a lot of pressure. And I knew that wasn't right. And my band director always told me, he was a pretty good lead player. More air, compression. He said, watch me. And he compression, and he'd go up to double C. But when I did it, all I got was sore lips. Because, and here's a nasty secret, guys. Teachers don't really teach what comes natural. And I'm guilty of that. If it comes natural to me, it's hard to teach. So the upper register was not a natural thing for me. I don't think it's natural per se for anybody, but different parts of the compression are natural for some people. I had the air going, I had the tongue going, I didn't have the embouchure going. And that was what kept me at that G. And I could get up to a C, but man, I had to use the octave key here to get me a higher, and I had developed rings around my lips. It was just a mess. So I needed to find a different way. And obviously asking my band director wasn't working because he'd give me these singing exercises and we'd go up higher and higher. And I still, G, right there was where I was comfortable, and I couldn't go any higher. Then I started thinking more like a woodwind player because I was going to be a music major, and I knew I had to take woodwind pedagogy class. And I said, I'm going to get a head start, so I started taking clarinet lessons in high school. And I started realizing, wait a minute, when I go to the upper register here, there's a break there, obviously in register, but also in compression. Why? Because of this. And I just make minor adjustments here. So I started thinking, what if I set for a higher note and then relax for the lower ones? Like, not quite clean down there, but it's still easier if I start with a higher note. And if I set for the higher note, well, the C came out real easy, and I didn't use a lot of pressure. It just was there. I started figuring out it was a set. And then that meant my break was not at a G anymore. My break was at a C. Well, I know if I want to play higher, I don't want to use any more pressure. I don't want to, muscle it any higher. I just got to change where I start. So I need to set where the C feels comfortable. Oh, that's really comfortable right there. Well, if I want to play higher, what should I do? I should set for a higher note. Ooh, I'm onto something here. And Jordan does a really good idea, or a really good way of explaining this. I'm just telling you how I went about it. I took a little different route. And I had a couple problems, and Jordan's really helped me and is still helping me with some of these problems. But I want to say is don't force past your break. You want to connect them. I'm a big believer of setting, at the higher end of your range and then relaxing into your lower register. Too often as trumpet players, and I'm guilty of this, I'll see a passage and I set for the first note I see, or where it's comfortable for me. And now I have to tense up if I all of a sudden have to go to the upper register. So I always set for the higher note, and then I relax into everything else. And it teaches me how to connect. So you need an approach to this. And I say approach because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if you're trying something and you're going at it really hard like I was, with blowing like my band director said, I wasn't getting anywhere. That was insanity. You have to change your approach. So let me give you some other ideas here. Of course, the woodwind. You want to use the rolled in embouchure, even on a woodwind. Okay, they roll in for it so they can control the compression. Well, it's the same idea we have. Let me grab my pencil, and we show you with the pencil. Rolled in. Set the rolled in. Okay? I recommend you take notes. Have a piece of paper with you or a notebook and jot down what you're working with. When you try the roll in for the first time, What does it feel like? Don't blow hard. Blow easy. Blow easy. You'll have enough compression. Find something comfortable. All right, that's comfortable. Now try ascending. That's really comfortable. And then, try a little higher. And ascend with that way. Beginner books are really good for that, and I have a video on that too. We can play them in octaves to connect these different ideas. So take your time with it. It's not a hard idea. You just need a slow, methodical method with it. Then, of course, you transfer it to the trumpet with it. Also, what's nice is the articulation. When I was learning this idea, and I was playing clarinet, I pretended when I was playing the trumpet, I still had a reed in my mouth, because that would force me to bring my lips in a little bit. Then I would articulate on the lead, on the reed, so I could do the articulation in the upper register. Okay? And I would just pretend I had a reed in my mouth like I was playing a clarinet, because I'd have the same compression. I'm going higher and higher. I'm getting more compression like I would on the clarinet. But with the clarinet, I knew that if I blew harder without the right compression here, the notes shut off. See what I mean? If I blow harder, I have the wrong compression for the note that's needed. I'm sorry, it's out of tune. I'm not a clarinet player. Okay, so I do apologize for that. So, articulation up there like a clarinet. And you can keep going with it and going with it as high as you need to with that. All right, let's talk about